A 15-year-old, a 15-year, sorry, not a 15-year-old veteran of the CIA, which will cover the next two pieces, was charged on Monday with selling US secrets to China, then unwittingly admitting his spying to the FBI. Now, the method prosecutors said they used to get him to reveal the nature of his espionage was worthy of a spy novel in and of itself. And the court documents said the 67-year-old Alexander Yuk Ching Ma of Honolulu was charged with violating US espionage laws, and prosecutors said he joined the CIA in 1967, then served as a CIA officer until he retired from the agency in 1989. And for part of that time, he was assigned to work overseas in the East Asia and Pacific region. Now, 12 years after he retired, prosecutors said Monday that Ma met with at least 5 officers of China's Ministry of State Security in a Hong Kong hotel room, where he disclosed a substantial amount of highly classified national defense information, including facts about the CIA's internal organization, methods for communicating covertly, and the identities of CIA officers and human assets. Interesting term, that. Human assets. And the trail of Chinese espionage is long and sadly strewn with former American intelligence officers who betrayed their colleagues, their country, and its liberal democratic values to support an authoritarian communist regime, said John Demers, Assistant Attorney General for National Security. And he said, to these Chinese intelligence services, these individuals are expendable. American ones are also. Hello, Mr. Keenan. To us, they are sad but urgent reminders of the need to stay vigilant. Vigilant or vigilant with an E on the end. After leaving the CIA, investigators said Ma got a job as a Chinese linguist in the FBI's Honolulu field office. He used his new job and security clearance to copy or photograph classified documents related to guided missile and weapons systems and other US secrets, and passed the information to his Chinese handlers, according to the court documents. Now, it's my understanding that CIA agents often move to other agencies as part of their work for the CIA, and the reason, one, is to spy, and two, to cover up any traces back to the CIA. And this next article will confirm it. I came across this article, which confirms much of what we have revealed about the CIA and their cover-ups of criminal activities, and my input will be at the end of this piece. And amidst the controversy over the doctrine of qualified immunity for cops, no one is talking about the full immunity accorded to the Central Intelligence Agency, which is an agency within the national security establishment that wields omnipotent power. Among the most interesting lines in the new Amazon Prime series, The Last Narc, short for narcotics, is what a CIA official says to the DEA investigator Hector Berrolez, who is charged with leading the investigation into the kidnapping, torture and murder of the DEA agent Enrique Kiki Camarena. Now, the official tells Berrolez that the CIA, listen closely, is not a law enforcement agency and therefore does not have to comply with the Constitution. Fiction becomes fact. Its mission, he said, is to protect the United States. Therefore, the implication is that the Constitution cannot be permitted to serve as a barrier to that end. That's the way it's been since the beginning. The CIA has omnipotent power to do whatever it deems necessary to protect, quote, national security, unquote. That includes, the report goes on, that includes, of course, the power of assassination, a power that the CIA assumed practically since its inception. In fact, as early as 1952, the CIA was developing a formal assassination manual for all of its assassins. The CIA also wields the power of torture, the power to record its torture sessions, and the power to destroy such recordings and prevent Congress or the public from listening to them or viewing them. Hello, Miss Hasbel, Vietnam, current CIA director, because she did all that in that last sentence. The CIA also wields the power to lie, at least if it's in the interests of the, quote, national security, unquote. No one jacks with the CIA, the article says, not the Justice Department, including every US attorney in the land, not the Congress, not the President, or the military. Who is going to mess with an organisation that wields the omnipotent power to destroy or kill people and is more than willing to exercise that power in the name of protecting, yet again, quote, national security, unquote. Here you have a prima facie case of US governmental involvement in the torture and assassination of a US citizen, one who was an agent of the DEA. And the alleged purpose of the torture was to determine if Camarena had uncovered evidence of CIA complicity with the Guadalajara cartel and the Mexican government in the drug trade. Fiction becomes fact. 3 witnesses, all giving their testimony separately, identified Rodriguez as one of Camarena's interrogators. That's clearly enough evidence to launch a formal and aggressive investigation into the matter, whether by federal grand jury or congressional hearings. Perhaps it's worth mentioning that Camarena's murder took place during the Iran-Contra scandal, when US officials were breaking the law to raise the money to give to the Nicaraguan Contras. Has any of this evidence caused any US attorney or US Congress to launch an aggressive investigation into the matter? Don't make me laugh, the article said. This is the CIA we're talking about. No one investigates the CIA, which makes the US government as crooked and corrupt as the Mexican government. But if you want to get a good sense of how both governments operate, I highly recommend watching The Last Narc, NARC. My input. What most people are not aware is the United States is nothing to do with America. It is a separate entity entirely and is masquerading as America. Just like the USA Inc. group is masquerading as an American government. Neither are American, and both are hostile foreign impostors. The United States is an entity that was first formed in Europe in Vienna in the early 1800s, and is more about the secret elite taking over everything we have discussed in many shows. And people will ask the question, how and why can the CIA wield such power over all the aforementioned bodies? It's simple. They infiltrated all of those at the highest level and took over and installed their people in most departments. That's how Mr. Ma in the last story ended up in the FBI in Honolulu. And that same tactic also applied to many countries' governments around the world as well. You know, there are many good people within the CIA who have had their names tarnished with these higher level harvesters. And I'm asking all within the CIA to stand up for your people, your families and your country, and let's expose and remove those who have such little regard for life in general or humanity. It's way past time.